Hi, I'm Shellie and welcome to my tutorial on how to heat emboss. Now, heat embossing you can use in a variety of your craft projects. Most popular is card making. You can put them in your, use heat embossing to do your mini albums and a lot of altered art crafts. So we're going to get started here and let's have some fun today. Alright, so let's go over some basics that we're going to need. And a lot of you already know I own my own hobby store called J&S Hobbies and Crafts, where you can buy some of these supplies. A lot of you already know me by my mini albums, Designs by Shellie or Shellie's Toy Box, the eBay ID. Let's go ahead and just go over a few things. This is a real simple process, fast process. First thing you are going to need is a heat gun, and I do like Zap. And the next thing that you are going to need, and today we're going to use the Ranger's Clear embossing ink. You're going to need your acrylic block for your stamp. I've chose a Christmas tree stamp that we're going to use. Here is a pack of embossing powders in case you want to do some different colors. I recommend this. I use this. And then mostly what we're going to do today is work with the antique gold and the gilded gold. And you may need a little brush, maybe to brush off some of the residue, some paper towels, some cardstock, and I use a tray. So really quick, I'm going to kind of show you some of the different ways you can use heat embossing. For example, I'm doing Christmas cards this year, and I want something very easy and quick. So I've decided the majority of my cards are going to have, whoops, there goes my stamp, is going to have this Christmas tree stamp and embossed. I've also used a die to die cut some cardstock just to kind of, dress it up a little bit. Another way to use embossing is to emboss leaves and flowers, and I have a whole bunch here to show you that you can do. And I'll show you how quickly how those are done with maybe some flowers you already have that are pre-made, or if you have a die cutter machine, how I actually achieved this with just some embossing of a stamp die. Anyway, I have a little Santa done here. I actually stamped this impression using Heartfelt Creations stamp, and then I die cut it out. And I incorporated that into just a little thank you card, and I did do the embossing on a flower and whatnot. I also had another stamp, and just to show you a complete embossed with different colors and stuff you can do, is the little horse with the bear. And then some of the other ones I did, like I said, this year it's going to be real easy, quick, simple Christmas cards, and there's some multiple colors in there with the golds. And I did dress this up a little with some little adhesive rhinestones and some glitter glitz. But you can do a variety of different things, even on colored cardstock. So those are just some things to show you. And here are some flowers, different ways you can take a flower that perhaps you want to dress up a little. This one's kind of a frosted effect here. This one, I have some gold around there. Just real easy, quick things you can do. Butterflies. This was a butterfly punch, and I embossed with some different colors on there. So, and then some clocks. So I'm going to push this all aside. Put this aside. Let's get started here. And like I said, we're going to use the antique gold and the gilded gold for this project. Quick and simple. Make sure my thing is down there. I use a tray, and I use just a little napkin in there to catch the excess so I can pour it back into my jar. Now when I get a couple colors going and mixed, what I do is I get these little containers that I can just throw it in there and it's mixed colors, and I'll use it on a different project. So first things first, let's go ahead and show you how to, let me get my tree a little straighter here. All right, all you have to do is just ink it up, your stamp, and press down, and you won't be able to see it, of course. And all I'm going to do next is grab my little tray, and we're going to do this. I'm just going to sprinkle it on there. And there's quite a bit on there, so that's what I said where the napkin comes into play there. And just kind of pour it back in. Now, if you have some excess here, you can blow it off. If it doesn't all come out, you can use your brush to clean it up a little bit. And here we go. Now, the idea to this is as soon as you see the shininess appear, you move on. You don't want to over emboss. So I'm going to bring this up just a little. Hopefully you'll be able to see. It's starting to melt and get shiny. It'll probably be easier if I just raise it up like this. You can see. As you can see at the top of the tree, it's already starting. Now this isn't going to flake off like glitter if you were going to do some sort of glitter thing. And that's done. I think I got it all. Nope, there's a little bit more. I did miss. Right over here. Get that done. Okay. So one neat thing about this is that it is not going to flake off on you or whatever, and it's ready to go. So if I wanted to place this on, do like I did on my other one and back it up and then put it on a card, why, it's done. You just put that down to your card front. We're going to go ahead and do this again so you can see. Let's go ahead and use the gilded gold. Matter of fact, why don't we just mix the both of them? Try that. Okay, and also you can dress these up like I did on the one card front. This little piece here. As you can see, I put some adhesive rhinestones. Okay, I'm pretty inked up there. I'll do this again. Now, that's good. All right, I'm just going to place my little napkin back in there. Put this down right there. And I think I will use both. And, like I said, I usually have an extra one of these. Here, I have an empty one right here, actually, that I'm going to just put all my excess in there. So I'm just going to go like this, and because I want two different colored golds on this. And it looks like a lot and stuff, but like I said, it goes back into the jar. If I wanted to put most of it, you know, I can put back into that, and then I like the mixed effect anyway, so it's going to work just fine for me. And here we go. think you can see this pretty good from the camera view there. I'm starting down here. As you can see, it's starting to go to melt. We've got a very pretty tree. So that's easy 101. Just heat embossing and incorporating that into your cards, and I do it on die cuts for my mini albums, which I'm working on one right now, and I'll show you what I've done with that. It's not done yet, but it's okay. Now for sentiments, I do have a sentiment to show you how that kind of works. And we're just going to use, I'm going to set that off. I'm going to use this one. I make a lot of thank you cards, and this just says thanks. I'm going to get that right in there. And I'll show you how the color works on that, so that I can choose whatever color I want. Now, when you're heat embossing, you're not stuck to just clear and using the colored powders. Now you can get clear powder and use like Ranger's inks that are embossable. The ones I sell are all embossable, but I personally enjoy the colored powders. I got that pretty good there. So I'm just going to stick that right there. Like I said, you won't be able to see it. Not until I do this. I'm just going to put that there. That there. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of this. This is a pretty color. Now, I'm just going to go like this and get the majority of it back in its bottle. Here we go. Now I can go back through here before I start and clean this up a bit. And as you can see, this is, like I said, a real quick process, and we're done. Now, moving on to the other ways to use heat embossing. There is flowers, for example. On this particular flower, all I did was, and I'll show you, I used a Heartfelt Creations Ariana Bloom stamp. Okay, it does have a die to go with it if you have the die cutter. I love this. I can make several different types of flowers out of one type of flower. As you can see, all of these were done with this, and I just created a different flower for each. Okay, how you do that when using these in combination together is, and I'm just going to flip that right on over here. You just ink it up and do the same thing. First you want to emboss your stamp, emboss, and then die cut. I think I got that pretty well done. I don't have my large, I don't see it anyway, my large acrylic stamp, so we're just going to do it like this. Now just make sure my impression gets down good. Okay. And I think I am going to use the antique gold. Now, again, I'm just going to do this. Looks like I had a little ink left on my ink stamp. I must not have cleaned it off very good, but here we go. Now I can just dump it right down here. I'm not going to worry about this excess here because I'm going to be die cutting this around. Okay. Pour it all back in there. Okay. And then those of you that already have flowers that you buy from the store, you don't have to have a die cutter to dress up your flowers. In fact, I'll show you after I'm done doing this how you can dress it up with using heat embossing. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and take my die. It's the same thing. All you do is line up your die and die cut it now. And what you're going to get is this. Okay? And at this point, what you can do is go ahead and ink around like what I've done here. Now, one of my favorite things to use is the colored inks at this point. I use the Rangers. Now, this is Raisin. It's one of my favorite, and all you have to do is add a little color. I usually just get right around here, like so. Now, by the time I'm done inking up around like this is what you're gonna get. And I just put some filler in here, but I didn't have to. I could have done it, pulled my flowers together and formed a little, you know, so that's all there is to that. I also wanted to show you really quick how to achieve this with heat embossing. Okay, and when you already have a flower that's made. For example, here are some flowers that are already made that I want to dress up a bit. Okay, all you would have to do is just give it a little sponge. Okay, I'm going to grab a fresh paper towel here. Okay, so all I would do for this, just to give it a little bit, like this one, I want some gold on this. I could use white, I could use anything. Actually, let's use this bridal tinsel color. This is a very pretty color, and it will give us an effect like this. So, I'm inking up. All I'm doing is going around the edges here. Okay, just a little bit, just on the tips to try and give it some. And if you don't get enough, then you can do it again. After you've embossed, you can just go right on back and do that. Okay, me, I just sprinkle the whole thing on there, make sure I get as much as I can. Okay, and you don't have to put it on that thick. You can just do it just a little bit. I kind of liked this shimmery effect. Tap a little more off, and here we go. Now, on flowers that you buy at the store, you can do the same effect to it. As you can see, the flower is already starting to emboss. Getting a very pretty sheen, almost a frosted look to it. Okay. I've been wanting to get after this one. Let's see. I wanted a heavier coverage on this. And I think gilded gold looks good. Let's see what we can do on this. Just enough. See this a little better. Now, as you can see, the flower has some sparkles. Now, if this wasn't quite enough for me, all I'd have to do is go back, dab it some more, and put it on thicker. I think you can see that. And there you have it. Pretty simple. This one, all I did was I went on heavier. And when I did it, I just went like this. And we'll do it to this one more time. And you can do this with a variety of die cuts. Doesn't have to be flowers. On the album that I'm working on right now, and I will show you a sneak peek of it, I emboss die cuts to just a ton of different things on it. So let's go ahead. I need my napkin for sure in this. And just lay it on real thick. Okay. And like I said, you're not going to get, I see where I need to get a little more. You're not going to get waste if you go ahead and use a paper towel or a piece of cardstock, something. So. That flower is done. And this would look really good with some leaves coming off the side. So here's an example of heat embossing on your mini albums. I'm still working on this. This is not done. But as you can see, I did some die cutting in the background. And this piece up here actually started off as black cardstock. And I inked this up with the gold and achieved that. And then I layered some swans. They were part of the Heartfelt Creations Romantic Garden paper collection. They're a stamp and a die cut, and I went ahead with the swans and did gold. And this is a die here I did on kind of a purplish cardstock, and I had stamped it and gave it that effect. Same thing down here with the key. And this flower is done with the frosted look that I showed you. So as you can see, you can do a lot of different things to your cover or even on the inside. You know, I could have dressed this flower up more if I wanted. And so that's another way you can use your heat embossing that really dresses up an album really good. So that is all there is to it. If you have any questions, you can always message me. It's pretty easy, simple, and quick. Like I said before, my Christmas cards are going to be simple and quick this year with the little tree embossed. I want to wish you all a happy holidays, and thanks for joining me on this tutorial.